First of all, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining to our very first technical webinar of 2026, the MCP Blueprint, linking engineer tools for automated success. My name is Belen. I will be moderating today's session. If you have any doubt or questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A section or in the chat, and we will address them later on. Before we start, I have the pleasure to introduce our speakers today. Josue Martinez Moura from Costa Rica and Julio Musi from Brazil. They are both currently working with photo booth supply. Josue is a Q&A automation engineer with over 9 years of experiences improving testing processes and building scalable automation frameworks, while Julio is a software engineer with 7 years of experiences creating reliable mobile and web applications, mainly with React. They both share a strong curiosity towards AI, and they are continuously exploring new ways to optimize their workflows, helping drive smart development practices. So, Julio, Josue, the floor is all yours.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to be the one to start with explaining how we're going to make this webinar and what exactly we're going to talk about. Pretty much, we're going to have three parts specifically. We're going to have concepts. This is for everyone to know what exactly we're talking about, what are the tools that we're going to use. Also, we're going to make a demo about the development MCP tools. We're going to actually show the code and actually see the MCPs working. And also, at the end, we're going to make a test automation example with MCP tools that DA is going to make. And we're going to show how to do it, pretty much. So, well, starting by the concepts, first concept that I want to have clear, and if any other have not seen it yet, pretty much is the MCPs. These are the Model Context Protocol. This is originally a concept from Anthropic. Pretty much, these guys are pretty well ahead with AI, and pretty much the Model Context Protocol. It's a way for our tools to communicate directly with an AI agent and make changes by themselves, like be autonomous in that way. We have MCPs for all kinds of applications. We have some examples for Playwright, for GitHub, things like Figma, for Terminal, for things like that. And think about an MCP like an API with steroids that can do more than just communicating with the server. It can actually change and do things on the servers that it's trying to connect to, and using AI to actually improve on the logic that we are doing for that. Also, some other example of concepts that we have. Well, pretty much this one is a little bit specific to our use case, but it's ClickUp. If you have if you have used something like Jira, like Azure DevOps, something even more simpler like Trello, it's similar on that way. It's a ticketing management tool for projects and for software development. You can use sprints, you can create tickets, you can create bugs, you can use everything. It's used for management of software development projects, pretty much. ClickUp is just a tool for that. There's others like this one. Also, we have Figma. Figma is more specifically directly related to design tools. It's actually it's actually used to make mockups for developers to then create. We can have like different viewports. You can actually make the examples of designs, things like that. At some point, it was pretty popular to make them directly on Photoshop. There was another one that it was, I don't remember the name. It was something like Zapier or something like that. I'm not exactly recall the name, but it's pretty much for mockups of designs of applications. Those are two specific tools that we're gonna use for our example. Then we have the examples related to QA automation. Pretty much we have WebDriver.io and we have Playwright. You're gonna be like, okay, but does Playwright and WebDriver.io do the same? They do pretty much in the way that Playwright can do test automation for web and API. WebDriver.io can too. The only difference is that WebDriver.io has capabilities to do so make for mobile applications like native apps using Appium. So pretty much these two can be used in different scenarios, but to make this example, we're going to see it a little bit more further down the road, but pretty much to make the example is that right now, like the trendy topic for every job posting and things like that is Playwright. Everyone wants to use Playwright. But maybe you have a project that is for native, or you are making something, I don't know, you have a project that is on Java, Selenium, something with Ruby, something with Python, and maybe you want to use tools like the Playwright MCP, but you have a different project. So this is the example that we're gonna use. We're gonna see it, like I said, a little bit down farther the road, but those are like some concepts and some examples that we're gonna need to see. Okay, we're gonna start now with how NCPs work in practice. So one example is that, just like I said, the NCPs are actually a way for an AI agent to connect to a tool and actually use it. I'm gonna share my screen to share my full screen just a little bit. Just a second, guys, please. So I'm gonna change into cursor right now. If you see my cursor, yeah, just in case, just to be totally sure.
Yes, yes.
Perfect, cool, awesome. If you want to add any MCP to your cursor account, to your cursor application, pretty much just gonna be here on the tools and NCP. You can add them as an NCP server. They're actually added as a command on a JSON. Pretty much, this is the example for Playwright. There's other examples of NCPs, and now there's a marketplace for NCP tools directly on Cursor. You can use for the Slack, Figma, Linear, Notion, things like that. And you can have something as intelligent as, I don't know, this test is failing, create a ticket directly on ClickUp, and Cursor is going to be able to do it right away without you having to go on ClickUp and open it and use it manually. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Just a second, please. Then, okay, limitations and reality check about this. Julio, can you give us a little bit more context about the limitations and some
Yeah,
things that you have noticed through your practice with MCPs and Cursor in general?
yeah, sure. So I have a kind of something really funny that happens with Figma is that on odd days it seems to break or not work at all. So you have the MCP server running and the Cursor AI can't seem to work with it. Like it's running, it's logged in, authenticated, everything is working good. But on some very specific days it stops working. It has been better since it changed from like the MCP to the plugins that Josue shared. Like in the plugin marketplace, it seems to be more stable, but it's still something that can happen. So we are getting to the days that if an MCP is not working, we also don't work, perhaps, like in the near future. And another good reality check and limitation is like agentic AI in Cursor should be treated like children. So there's a good example if you ask someone for like a sandwich recipe. If they say, "Oh, spread the butter on top of the bread," the AI will think you are asking it to like take the actual butter, like the can of butter or anything, and put it on top of the bread. While you have to like take the butter out and actually spread it on the bread. So you have to be specific. It needs supervision, clear instructions, and will confidently do the wrong thing. It does that most of the time if you are not like
That
if
can
you give
happen.
yes, if you give it really ambiguous prompts. So
Exactly.
can you move to the next slide, please?
Yeah, just to add a little bit about MCP's instability, just remember that just like I said, an MCP is still a call to a server that can have a 500 error, a connection problem, an outage on a server, something like that. So remember that you're still using internet applications, internet
Mhm.
servers. So it can have instability, it can fail. There's like those limitations on software development that there's always going to be failures or bugs or limitations there. Then, some setting up for success, Julio.
Yes, Cloud is
Good.
way better. Yeah, no problem. So to set up Cursor for success, this may be obvious for some of you guys, but please use Cursor rules. It's mandatory at the moment. Like it gets you from a good tool to an awesome working tool. Also use reusable commands. You can write them down in Cursor. There's a folder for that. So you avoid like you use actually like a kind of a dry principle for this for less inconsistency instead of having the same prompt like a note with the prompt that you always copy and paste. Just use the command for that. You can create lots of them. Actually, Shane from PBSEO, who is in the attending this meeting as well, he has like reading a lot of them. And most of like all of them are really useful. And something I also recommend is using new chats whenever possible. So you finish a workflow. If it has completed, click the new chat button to clear the context. You can also use dash summarize for that, but doesn't work as it should, at least in my experience. And for this presentation specifically, we are gonna be using this strategy, using Opus for planning and Sonnet to actually build, because it's a bit cheaper and also as good. Opus is really expensive, but something that I just noticed is that Composer 1.5 is kind of as expensive as it, which is a shocker for me. But yeah, we can move on.
Perfect. So the next part, Julio is going to be the one sharing. Pretty much, we're going to make an example using MCPs for making this UI specifically. Pretty much, it's going to be, we're going to develop the new feature using the ClickUp requirements or the requirements specifically to actually check what exactly it needs to build. We're going to validate this. If we have the time that it's going to validate Playwright, it's going to validate the web view with Playwright and generate some unit and end-to-end tests on it. Maybe even make a PR with the usage of the MCPs.
Yes.
So if you want to share,
Of
screen
course.
is all yours.
Let me see if I can get my screen right in the first try. So can you all see it? Is the font size okay? Or
Yes.
okay. So as I was talking some time ago, these are the rules that we have. Like I just added one. This is a sample Next.js project. I am a React Native developer, which is kind of shocking that I'm using Next, but that's life. We have this coding standards. It lives in an MGC file inside .cursor rules. This I just added like common React like state management principles, good standards, like break down components into smaller components whenever possible, avoid prop drilling, anything like
Hey,
basic.
Julio, can
Julio,
you make the screen a little bit bigger, please? The people
Of
cannot
course.
read it.
Is it better?
Maybe a little bit more.
There we go.
perfect.
That's pretty
Yeah.
readable. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the coding standards file. This is actually public in GitHub for this repo. We have a link that we'll share with all of you if you guys want to copy this. It's pretty reusable. It's also good to put your project necessities here, like the requirements, decisions, and everything. And this is the sample skill document. This is from Figma MCP. Basically, this does what I've been doing kind of manually with commands, and I just noticed that it's a skill from the MCP itself. Like it gives all the details for the MCP to work, like transforming a Figma file, like a Figma web page, into an actual Next.js or like React component. You can do the same by like going to settings, rules and skills, and you can add new rules, you can add new skills, sub-agents. This I really want a webinar regarding sub-agents. I haven't like had the time to do that yet. And also commands. The MCPs, like you can see them also in this. So something cool that we can do, I haven't installed Playwright yet. A good way of installing like MCPs, you can click on new MCP, and if you have that on your mind for some reason, you can just add it here. But there's a really good website called MCP Directory in Cursor, and you can just look for the one you want, which is Playwright, add it to Cursor, and you are done. So pretty straightforward. And what we are actually going to do is transform this standard login page from Next into the one from the design. So let me share that with you guys. This is the code we have at the moment. This is the like boilerplate code from Next. So this might also be like really small to see, but let me know if I need to zoom in. This is the
No, it looks
Figma.
fine.
Okay. This is the Figma project. This is a public Figma project. I just typed like sample loading landing page login Figma. Got the first one that I thought looked okay, and we are here. Unfortunately, I do not have dev mode, so I can like to make this easier for you guys to see the like paddings, margins, and everything. Like,
Mhm.
and we also have the ClickUp ticket. So to get started, the first thing we would do is actually copy paste the URL. Like I did this with AI as well, like to make it faster. But this is like a simple feature request, describing that login page, what it has, the sections. Like some of the tickets you work with might have more detail, less detail, doesn't really matter. I also embedded the link here, but like out of experience, it didn't find it, so I'll add it manually. And how do we actually get started? So the first step would be switching to plain mode, removing auto, and using Opus. Fortunately, we have max mode enabled, which makes it even better to work with. It's pretty expensive, but yeah, that's life. You can paste the ClickUp ticket. We can also paste the Figma MCP link. And remember that I told you guys that there's a skill for this. So it mentions when user mentions implement design, it will actually use this skill. So we are going to copy paste this. So implement the design from the link above and use ClickUp MCP for the requirements. And now we wait, like it should like actually do this first try out of experience with some caveats like AI, but let's see what happens. This will take some time, so if anyone wants to speak up or have any questions,
Mhm.
now will be the time because this can take up to a couple of minutes.
And also, you can always see that it's gonna go one like the steps further. It's gonna make a plan. It's gonna spin up some sub agents. It's gonna be reading out the project structure in order to
Yeah.
actually make this work. But yeah, sometimes it takes a little while to figure it out and things like that. Just like as a real developer will actually go and read the project, read what exactly it needs on the requirements, trying to figure out, take some notes. And so it's similar to what a real developer does, just more like in an agent kind of way with AI. So yeah, guys, any questions, any comments that you have so far? Maybe any of the concepts was not clear enough, something like that. I think that we can open the mic if you want for a little bit, or just post
Yes.
it on the chat.
Yes, we have a question from Rafa Gomez, but I think it was something
Mhm.
you were commenting in that moment because it says cloud is having better results on that, right? I don't know
Yeah.
what
I
he's
think
referring.
that was regarding ambiguity or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Oh, could be
But
Rafa.
yeah.
If you want to open the mic, I can do that for you.
That
It
was
was,
it. That's
yeah,
cool. That's
that was
cool.
it.
Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, in any case, you can see that right now the agent, you can see the a little bit in a small kind of icon, the icon of Figma. It's reading the screenshot. Is this case is the a public Figma design? Yeah, it's a public Figma design. Yeah, everything is gonna be public. Also the GitHub repos, so you can actually check this recording and try it yourself with the same prompts. Everything is gonna
Yes.
be there.
One, like regarding the limitations we spoke about, we actually reached the Figma API rate limit for some reason. And this is a first for me. But
That can happen. Yeah.
yeah. But so something really important as well as when working with this like
Mhm.
fully autonomous workflows is having good code in your code base, it will always try to match the code you have. And here I also added like the colors for the project in Figma. So this is kind of cheating. Okay. We have the spacings. It uses a base of 4 pixels. So anything that divides by 4 is okay. Typography as well. It uses this font that I've never seen before, and it's actually really pretty. Text sizes and everything. So one of the first thing it did was going through the app and seeing what we already have so it can apply it. And it also matched like reading the plan is also really important. So please do it. Sometimes I am lazy about reading it. Yeah, it's important that you do. And it actually made it to Figma. It has the node, like whenever you see like node and 2 numbers, it means that it got to Figma and it checked like a specific part of the code. Not the code, sorry, but the node itself. Like I'm not sure we can actually see it here, but this would be the node it's talking about. Since this is a really small project, it's fairly easy. Like we are used to working with huge ones. And it has like all the implementation details. It has the headlines. Something that he actually got wrong is that he noticed that there's an illustration already in the project because I added it before, but it thinks that it has to add a headline and subtitle. So I'm going to allow it to do that, and then we can fix it if we have time. So it also mapped all the design tokens, the colors and everything. And it also created an architecture, like using input, button, checkbox. Like it's really complete, and it's gonna create the new files and change page.tsx. Now you could either iterate on this plan by typing something and chatting with the robot here. I'm just gonna hit build because that's fun. And we can see it in real time. Another limitation that we have is Cursor has this built-in browser. It's good to work with, but regarding automation, it's not as good as we're using the Playwright MCP. So we are gonna be using that both for QA and to validate what the AI is writing. So something that I usually do in my prompts is asking it to create, like, do some work, validate it using the browser automation or Playwright, and then iterate itself. So whenever it says something is ready, I'm like, I know I am not gonna see something really wrong or totally crazy that it did or hallucinated. So it saves us some time. So this is already looking like really close to the designs. I think this margin is wrong, but and code-wise, it's not that bad as well.
Those are the kind of things that as a developer you notice right away. Also in QA, you see like, okay, yeah, this implementation doesn't seem right, or that flow of the automation is not well. But that's why you need to give supervision to what Cursor and what the AI is doing, because you want it to actually do everything that you will have done, but with your own instructions. It's just like a new way of programming and also checking out and improving workflows. You could be leaving this right now. We're on a call and we're talking and we're seeing it, but you could leave this working while you do and test something else, do a different ticket at the same time, maybe attend a meeting while it gets so to some of the work for you. It's all there's some ways to improve your workflows and make you faster, but it's not that you need to just completely trust it 100% and forget about it and just leave it working without any supervision at all.
Yes, I don't know if it uses you like trying to do a responsive layout for this and not render the image that we have on Figma. Yeah, that was why. So like I said, it got this wrong. So it added a subtitle and title for this, but like this is really close to what we saw in Figma. This feels like cheating. It's mind blowing. Like some things might be wrong, some things might be right. So that's when you choose to either iterate or do things manually. So you can use this to like spin up a new feature or anything like that. So I'm going to like let's see if this will work. So I asked it to use Playwright MCP to validate if it matches Figma. Let's see what happens. sometimes as well, cursor MCPs do not work as they should, so you have to uh, quit and reopen the application. So whenever it fails, just hit Command Q if you're on Mac and open it again. But be sure not to lose any work on because sometimes it like deletes the current workflow. I
We
think
had
it's
a
using.
question from Ivan. He asked later if you are linking your personal Cloud Cursor account to the private Figma account of the company when using this work.
Yeah, I am using the company's, like the client's cursor seat that we have, but everything else is public. Like I created the Figma account in my under my Beyond's email, both ClickUp, like them both. And also thank you PBSO for sponsoring this this webinar with the
Yeah.
cursor. Yeah.
Thanks,
But
Julio.
also, guys, I do actually pay for Cursor for myself for like for personal projects. And if you are doubting about if it's a good investment, yes, use it. It's actually
Mhm.
it's fairly good. And if you use the tools like the examples that we do here, you're gonna see that your workflows are gonna be faster and you're gonna be able to be more proactive in the things that you do. So even if you're not using it right now, yeah, go ahead and give it a try. You're gonna like it.
Mm. So
Also, I
here,
noticed that, sorry to interrupt you, that Rafael also said that Cloud ND is now natively supported by Cursor. So these examples for Cloud, we can, if I'm not wrong, for Cloud Code, we can also use them from Cursor, even if you're paying like the other one. So it's also good. Those are two, for me, it's like the main options for using AI right now, Cursor and Cloud Code. Those are actually really good. I don't have that much experience with Cloud, being totally honest, but I know that it's really powerful and the agents work really well too.
yeah, I tried using Cloud Code, like, but I didn't get used to the like terminal interface or like having multiple agents doing stuff. Like I'm really used to having the code on the center, my files on the left, like the cursor default view you have is agent on the left. That breaks my mind every time I see it, and I can't use it. But yeah, perhaps I'm getting old. And so here is AI iterating. It totally ignored that I asked it to use playwright MCP, and now it's using the
That
internal
happens.
browser. But I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
I've seen
using
that.
actually playwright in the internal browser or browser automation, but it's like it's doing its thing. Like it's fixing issues. You can also notice that it's not pixel perfect yet. I think this margin is wrong, and I can't. Okay, thank you, AI. So the margin seems to be a bit too much. This, like specifically, this should be a dotted line if I'm not mistaken. Let me see that. Yeah, the sizes are not perfect. The margin is as like this has a specific space, perhaps a space between center like front end shenanigans, but for me, it's close enough. If you have a more tight code space, like this works really good on our day to day because we have really tight components. So we
Mhm.
usually do not create anything new. We just use the existing components to do the work for us. Like we just import them and use them. So it's even better in that case. So it created a new plan to fix the issues. So this would be the aspect of it. We could also have like a new ticket, let's say a bug ticket saying that oh we have there's two headings and two subtitles. This is awful, but we can do the same. But I'm gonna pass to Josue, and if you have time on the end, we can move back to this because like this is everything I have to show you basically.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Julio. We have another question before we move to Josue's part. Orlando asked, do you suggest starting with a high-end model for planning and then implementing the solution using a different, less expensive model? There result in missing context in your experience?
That's actually a really good question. And if you talk about missing context about what you're doing, it's gonna depend on if you use a different chat. If you the way that Cursor works is that actually And for every chat, it's gonna go on over all the questions and it's gonna iterate about everything that you said or it has said on the chat. So if you already have the context, you already have the plan, and you already have the knowledge and the roles about your project, it's actually not an issue to use a less smart or faster agent. Well, different. I forgot the name. It was not agent. It was like this not language. I forgot. Doesn't matter. But it's not an issue to use a not so smart one for these examples, because you already have all the context in the chat. You already have all the rules and you have the plan about what exactly it needs to do. So it's just gonna go and follow a guideline in order to implement it. But it's better to use smart models to make the plans and make the context about them, because it's gonna understand everything that you're doing, has a broader context about the use cases that you have.
Out of experience, like the number model you use, the worse the generated code is. Not because of the code itself, but because the plan can do so much, right? You can have all the details, but the agent building it will still like make decisions. So whenever possible, I also answering Ivan's question as well. Uh, I use Opus for everything, but I once did a $20 request on a single prompt. So since then, I've been using Sonnet. So, but we have like at the moment we have like on-demand usage enabled for our accounts and no limits. So until someone like does something really really expensive, I think it's gonna be a bit that way. But especially if you are using like a $20 with the limit account, like using Opus and for planning and Sonnet for coding, I do not recommend Composer, but out of my experience. But something that I also do is using Opus for planning, Codex GPT 5.3 for reviewing the plan, and Sonnet 4.6 to actually implement it. I also tried using Gemini, but I didn't really like it. It's too lazy. But yeah.
That's cool. Perfect. So, well, next step, I'm gonna make an example with automation. We're gonna use the playwright MCP, but let me share my screen real quick. I'm gonna share my entire screen, and you guys let me know when you see my screen, please.
Now we are seeing it. Yeah.
You see it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, well, just in any case, and this is going to be an interesting example. This is a real life usage of an example. Like I said before, we're going to use the Playwright MCP to make this. We're going to use the Playwright MCP, but this project, and again, this is a GitHub repo that is public. You can use it, you can retry it and use this specific example for your own knowledge. But this is a project that is done in WebDriver.io. This is not using Playwright. This is a project done in WebDriver.io. What we have is a boilerplate project that it has some proper examples like page objects, it has some specs, it has utils, it has some different examples of tests and things like that. But we're going to make a new test, and the Playwright MCP is going to be able to read the test, it's going to be able to figure it out, to know the logic, and then write the test for us on our own framework. So, which is going to be the test? Pretty much the test, and this is a really, really simple example. I have an Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have tools for doing QA, maybe you have done this at some point. It happens to all of us at some point. And this is going to be a really simple example of using a page that is already set up, and it's going to go and read the logic that it already has on the project, and it's going to go and add a product to a cart, and it's going to make the tests already automated for that. So the way that I'm going to do it, I'm just going to go and take a screenshot of this test case. This is all that I'm going to do. I'm not even going to copy it. And I have the prompt. Pretty much it's going to say like, I'm going to implement a new test based on this test case on the attached image. That's the image that we're going to attach. Guidelines. You need to follow the existing patterns of this project, the page object structure, any naming conventions, and use the Playwright MCP to navigate the live application, log in if needed, discover the relevant the relevant tools of the application, and then create or extend any page objects, register the new test, and run the test to make sure that it works on what you did. On this case, I'm gonna make it on agent right away. We're not gonna make a plant, just to show the example running already. Don't worry. If it fails, it's gonna fail live, and we're gonna see it and make a laugh. we're gonna run it. Again, I did use the Opus. It's gonna analyze the image. It's gonna see the preconditions. It's gonna read the expected results. It's gonna think, and it's gonna start the subagent to read the project first, because it's gonna start by reading the project and the structure of the project. So it's gonna be, okay, I have arguments, I have page objects, configurations, environment examples, next move. Okay, it's gonna go and start. While it does, I don't know if there's any question on the chat or anything like that.
Yeah, the guidelines you added could be a comment, just saying. You could have that as a specific
Yeah, as
comment.
an MD, as a guideline.
Yeah, while you generate, you can add it if you wish.
We can wait for it. Hey, we're gonna make the example first, but okay. Excellent. It's gonna go. It already explored the project, and then it's gonna go and use the playwright MCP. It's gonna read the browser navigation JSON. These are just tools about the MCP. It's gonna start the browser and navigate in playwright. Okay. It started the browser. You can see it right away. It logged in. I'm not doing anything. You can see my hands here. I'm gonna close this just for you to see it. I've seen that happens every time you log in on that application. This is a test application that is fairly popular for web tests. For automation tests and automation projects for you to practice. You can use it. It's public. Nothing wrong about using it for the example. You can see it ran there. It opened the card, figure out that it is okay. Now let me discover and execute the JS. It's thinking right now. Okay, he has all the selectors. Awesome. It's creating an inventory page object. Again, you can see it that is writing. It's getting a good example there. It's clicking the shopping cart. Okay, it's getting that. Again, guys, this is an example where it's doing the code for WebDriver.io. This is not for Playwright. This is a different project. So think at this example of something, if you have something like Java, Selenium, C#, Ruby, Python, anything like that, it's also going to work for your project because you have the context of Cursor, not just the MCP or it doesn't need to be specifically Playwright for this example. Okay, step 3. Makes sense. It's thinking. Okay, thinking about the test. Okay, and it's gonna register on a new suite. Cool, awesome. And the last step, if I'm not wrong, it's gonna try to run the test. Perfect. Let's see if it works. And if it fails, it's gonna try to fix it right away. It failed, actually. Seems to be an issue with that. I'm gonna run it. It passed. Awesome. We didn't see it running because it already ran on the background. But at the test case, it created and modified the test, create the example. It worked. Perfect. And if I want, I can run it like this. Just in any case, now that I know that it added a suite, I'm gonna run it with this one with Driver.io headed, that I know that it's gonna open the browser. So it's gonna be npm run with Driver.io headed, and I'm gonna set the suite as cart because it's the one that created. It's gonna go, it's gonna start, it's gonna make it, it's gonna add to cart, and it's gonna check it. It was way too fast. I'm just gonna add cursor right now, and can you add some wait or pauses to the test for me to see it? Just really quick, it's gonna add just some pauses for it for us to see the test running. Let's give it a second. It's gonna be just a few pauses. It's gonna be really easy to do.
And something cool to mention is that some time ago we had a hackathon at BBSCO to essentially do what we are doing, but on the context of our app, and we had a prompt that would fix a bug from ClickUp, validate it, and generate the automated tests, and then run everything and then open the PR itself. So
yeah,
so
pretty much.
You still have to review everything, but like I am not very fond of generating code and opening a PR without reading it first. But depending on the code base.
To pay attention to it. Yeah, you should always get to read it. And then, okay, it already has the pauses. It's gonna be a little bit slower for us to see the test. It's gonna go. It's gonna click on add to cart. Let's get a second. It sees the remove. It's gonna go and click on the cart. It should see it on the cart, and then it passed. Awesome. And this is an example that we just did. Right now, it read the context about the project. It has a good structure. It read about the suites. It added some screen objects that are like page objects. The selectors are fairly usable comments. You can understand, you can see it, you can debug it, and you have the example of the test already running. You can improve it, and this is just a simple test, and it made up everything with the player rate MCP with a proper test case. So this is something that you have to take in account for QAs, for automation, that if you have proper test cases, proper documentation, and proper project setups, you can make your own automation, make the automation in a faster way, because it's going to understand and have enough context about your application and do different flows and improve your coverage. So yeah, this is the example for QA and automation. I would like to know if the people want to open the mic, if you have any questions, any observations specifically. Maybe you have used different use cases or different scenarios for your AI workflows. Anything that you guys want to add? And then I see that the chat is...
Yeah, we have a question from Jonathan. He says, in a perfect scenario, how many test scenarios would you expect to automate in one day?
In a perfect scenario in one day, let's say that if I have the AI making it, making them, and I don't need to fix them or change them too much. Let's say that easily it can automate between 15, 20, all the way to 30 tests. More than that, I would say that you're giving it way too much freedom to do things, and maybe at some point you're gonna have 100 tests that doesn't work because you didn't even check them. So I would say like between 10, 20, 30, making it way too large to manage. But yeah, in the end, and this is something that I've seen live, being honest, things like you do an automation, a test, things like that, works perfectly. You push it, doesn't work on the pipeline, and then you spend 3 days fixing it on the pipeline, and it works on your local. Why? Things that happen. And I've seen it. You have seen it. So yeah, it's not always about making the code or making the test. Sometimes it's about making it usable, maintainable, and for it to work continuously work on pipelines and on different releases that you do. Sometimes you take more time to make the test stable rather than just writing them.
And actually having good tests, like out of context as well, we have a React Native web application with offline mode, like only capabilities. So
Mhm.
there's a lot going on. And sometimes I see Josue like losing his mind because the automation can't pick up a model, like the system model, or like a recent one that we still didn't validate. Is it if the automation works with a different device language? Because I have mine in Portuguese and the automation is done in English. So could the test pick it up? And how
Didn't.
to do it? Yeah, it didn't.
It,
So, yeah.
it totally didn't. I
Nice.
didn't even consider that at first.
Yeah.
And what Rafael says, and here you created the scenarios right, Josue. But in a totally AI automated, we can create the scenarios based on the ticket too. Totally. You can add if you have a proper documented ticket that you have, okay, this is gonna test this new functionality that it has this acceptance criteria, this, and that. Try to
We lost him.
Oh, yes.
and then go and implement one each of the test cases with using AI, and you can validate it and check it. But it's always about, I know that as us as developers, we are not the biggest fans of doing documentation, but for AI, that's our biggest friend. Having proper tickets, proper documentation, proper test cases, and proper guidelines, it's gonna make you succeed using AI on your projects. LLM texts are the new Google. Pretty much. Yes, yes. It actually
Yeah.
works a lot. I don't know. I do really like making a lot of documentations and readmes and things like that, because even if you don't remember about something you did, if you have a document, you're gonna be able to figure out at some point. And the AI is also gonna be able to figure out. If you don't have context or documentation, it's difficult for you. It's gonna be difficult for the AI, because it's gonna start hallucinating and trying to figure out stuff that it just doesn't know. Perfect. Any other question, guys?
The Q&A section is
I think
looking
it's
clean, and the chat also. We have 10 more minutes left. I don't know if it's that enough time for the back ticket or
if you want to try it out, Julian, you can do it.
Yeah, let's do it. It's
Let's
here.
see.
okay. Let's end the webinar with that one.
Mm. So we have a plan. Where is it? So can you all see it? Can you zoom in a bit?
Oh, yes, please, just a bit.
Yeah. So it already identified some errors, like duplicated text on the left panel. Oh, no, I have to zoom out again here. So there's this duplication. It didn't notice like this margin is wrong, this logo isn't right. Like I have proof that this worked last time, but there are limitations. And so, but yeah, it's close enough. This wouldn't be going to prod, but it made it work, so we can ask machine god to do our work. And like, basically wait. Like now would be the time that I would go grab a coffee or with the restroom or something. While it does its thing, I'm gonna show you guys how to do the comments, because we can create a new one that is very good. You can like the hotkey is Command Shift P, and you can type comment, if I'm not mistaken, and create comment perhaps. No, I lied. So you just go to settings. It's under rules, skills, sub-agents. You have comments. I will create a new one called OpenPR. So in here, you can add like stuff that we are used to working with multiple running branches. So you have more than one release branch. So you have to always ask the user which release branch he wants to base this PR on. So you can just add them here. For this, I don't think we need much. Perhaps like if no new create a branch. If the current one is master or main, actually. Yeah. You can add stuff like add the ticket number or code or anything like that to the title, save it. I could spin up a new, like I said, I did something that I told you guys not to do, but you can this new I should have opened a new chat for this, like for the debug part. It would have perhaps given us a better result. It can sometimes clear up the API cache and anything. Yes, Paulo, we can use AI to create the command. So we will go first full circle. But to use the command, you can just type dash and all of them are here. So you can create rules, skills, like this is all boilerplate ones and just use it here. It's probably the same for Cloud Code as well. They use the same terminology for everything. So I think for pretty much every other vendor in the industry right now, it must be very similar. No, I haven't used it co-work yet. I'm gonna
No, Cloud,
read
no,
about it.
we are actually pretty used to use Cursor, but yeah, Cloud is pretty new to me, being honest.
Mhm. But
New in
regarding
the
to
way of using the specific Cloud Code. If we talk about using their models, yes, Opus has been pretty great.
yeah, but regarding documentation, we do have someone from PBSCO asking like he has an agent just to document what he's doing in Notion. So whenever he does something that is worth documenting, the AI automatically saves it to Cursor and creates a file for that. So yeah, everyone has prejudice with Linux users, unfortunately.
I don't know. I like Linux. I've
Me
been
too.
getting more into the pipeline kind of work, and I don't know. It's pretty useful for everything.
I wish we like game developers would finally embrace Linux so I could ditch Windows for my main PC. But yeah,
Yeah,
we are getting there.
we're getting there someday with Steam OS and things like that. We're getting there.
Yes. So regarding code here, uh, it used the components it created. I noticed some of the code is not like ideal, like using arbitrary percentages for width using Tailwind. I am not a Tailwind guy, so this is like weird language for me, but I can make do. Tailwind is really good to use with AI actually, so it's way faster. And it's doing its thing in the internal browser. But yeah, it fixed the duplicated message we had. So yeah, it's controlling stuff.
Perfect. For me, that design it's maybe not 100%, but like 80, 85% there.
Mm, yeah.
It's actually
It
really good. That's a
yes.
lot of load on your back
Yeah.
taking off for work.
It for sure like saves you a lot of time. Like responsiveness is not
Yeah, that
Repos.
one is
Like
not that
yeah.
great.
It loves like something really common in front end is like you have a box like this one and you can have like you don't have a character limit. Sometimes text will go over the box, it will truncate in a wrong way or something like that. I always miss those. So it actually had fixed it and now it broke it again. I think the main issue here was because Figma is not like working 100%. We could
Yeah,
create a
the
new
MVP.
chat and ask it to go over it, but yeah, as I said, limitations. It's not perfect yet.
But yeah, also in the end, that one of the advices and things again, do good documentation, check it out, check what it's doing, try to understand the code that is doing. Don't leave it to the point that you don't understand what it's doing, because if it stops working and you need to fix it out and the AI cannot fix it, you're going to be in trouble for that. And there's always a chance, at least for my test and things that I have noticed for automation, if you want to start an automation project, try to set up some tests that already work and have a project structure that you're fine with, and then use AI to improve the coverage with the same project that you have. Don't try to do it from the startup, because it's always going to try to, I don't know, as the example that I said, it's going to try to go and use Playwright right away, maybe use libraries that you're not using, and maybe you need something totally different. So it needs some guidelines and some context about the project that you're going to work with to start doing a really good work there. So yeah, those are my words of advice. Not sure if Julio has any specific for things that you have learned using this.
Yeah, just closing words, but you can ask why not use like for let's say print screens for front-end work like this one. Why use the Figma MCP or anything else? It's usually way better. So here, yesterday we had a practice session and Figma was working perfectly. So the result was better yesterday. And today, when the Figma MCP, as I said, some days it doesn't work as it should, the result was not as good as before. So using print screens or anything like that, the result would be more similar to this one. So the more resources you give to AI, the better the outcome usually is. So I think that's it.
And use screenshots. You don't need to write everything. You can just paste on a screenshot like I did, and it works. It's able to read the screenshots, read context, read the images. Just use it in that way. Use it to make your life better and your workflows easier, not to complicate yourself.
Paste the screenshot and write no text and just send. Forget about it.
I've done that, being honest. Thank you, guys. I don't know if you have any more questions. This is gonna be like the last ones or anything like that. Any comments? If not, I think that we're okay for now.
Yeah, I think we don't have any more comments or questions. So thanks Julio, and thanks Josue for sharing your knowledge, and thanks everyone for joining. We will be posting the record of this session, so if you want to review it, it will be in our YouTube account. See you in the next webinar. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
day. Thank you.